All right, we are going to look at the next part of our case study here, our 43-year-old female. We looked at company number one. This is where it gets interesting with different insurance companies and such. And again, what we're going to focus on here is the compounding analysis. That's what I'm interested in when I give the insurance company $1, whether it's premium, PUA, anything. What's the net compounding for me? How do I maximize my upfront and long-term cash value? Let's take a look. So company number two, different insurance carrier here, exact same funding scenario. So we had $100,000 for 20 years, followed by 25 through year 30. Okay, let's take a look here. And this particular company has one of the highest dividend rates in the industry right now. We're in 2020. We've got the full details in our agent training platform. 1090, 2575. Where do I have more cash value off the bat? Minimum premium, because the PUA is deposited into cash value immediately and purchases me more death benefit too. Now, if we were to let's look at year 15 here. 14 to 15, cash value grows from 1.82 to just over 2 million. Right? I pay in 100, but if I look at the 1.8 to 2 million, look at that. Grew by $183,000. I gave him 100 and I got 183 back. You ever hear that? The thing is, I paid in 100, so my net growth was not 183. My net cash value growth was 83. This guy right here. Meaning I want to make sure I back out the fact that I paid a premium into the policy. That compounding is going to occur no matter what. And where you'll see it here actually, let me get rid of the gross cash value growth columns, is after year 20, we drop down to just the base premium payment. Now we've got a higher dividend with this particular company. So the example with the higher base premium, I'm getting more favorable dividends, i.e. a surplus over here. What that means, here's where it can potentially work. Let's go here. Look at that. That's the net compounding growth this particular year. Meaning after I back out the 25,000, it grew by 148. Still have a little bit more cash value in the example on the left. 30 years, 74, he wanted to stop funding. About 4K more in growth that particular year, and each year thereafter. Here's the fun part. What's the difference? Like $80. Not much of a difference, especially when you look at the scope of how much money he's paid into the policy. Over here, when he kicked his payment down to $25,000, $10,000 went toward the base premium, $15,000 toward PUAs. I'll also add, what's interesting about this is that gives a bit more flexibility if that's a concern for us, in the sense that I'm only committed to 10 over here, whereas 25 over here, if I like that added flexibility. So from that point, what we did was look at a reduced paid up option, which favored both examples, and very, very similar growth over time. The difference, if I look at the long haul, $34,000, $35,000, right? What he paid in was about $2.25 million. Yeah, that's quite a bit. I mean, that's not very much at all relative to the $2.25 million. Now, a bit too fast. Let's look at the guarantees. Same thing. I'm going to look at the net growth here since we already touched on the gross. Get rid of that. These blank columns. There we go. My OCD is telling me to highlight this in red because it is negative. So what I'm highlighting here, this net CV increase, is the net growth on my money each year. So in the first several years, it's negative. The main reason why, let's break it down actually, because this is good information to be aware of if I'm learning about cash value life insurance in general, whether I'm an agent or if I'm looking to purchase a policy. If we look at the 1090 split, let's give ourselves some space to write. We're on the guaranteed values now. Keep that in mind as well. Year one, you pay in $100,000. Your cash value is $85,000, 85 and change. That means I paid in 100, have 85. No matter how I spin it, that is a negative $14,000 hit. Year two, I pay in 100, it's a negative 13, just about $14,000 hit. Then it starts to get better. Here's why, and you may recall this from the overview video, is we have a base premium of $10,000. The insurance company, this is a traditional whole life product, is going to overcharge me in the first 2 years of the policy. And beginning year 3, you'll see most of it come back. And I'm receiving compounding as well. The thing is, when I look at just the guaranteed element, look at that, still behind the 8 ball. However, by the time I hit year 4, I pay in 100, grows from 267 to 368. It grew by more than what I paid in. Back out the 100, the net growth was $917. Over here, negative 924. Why that's negative 29,000 in the first 2 years. On the example on the right, it's because you have a $25,000 base premium. That's also why it takes 10 years to break even instead of between 7 and 8. Got more cash into the policy right off the bat. Now, to recall what the long-term cash value difference was over the life of this, $35,000 when he paid in $2.25 million. Still, relative to what he paid in, you could say it's not a huge difference, but it's almost 3x. Not quite. And this is focusing on the guarantees with the same product, same blend, same design, all that fun stuff. It's interesting too, when you look at the compounding, let's look at year 30, net compounding 82 compared to 76. Then it jumps. Over here in the 25-75 jumps, it was going 75, 76, then 87. Why would it do that? Reduced paid up. Especially when you look at the guarantees. When we chopped the premium off, it did give it a nice boost, and you see the death benefit drop there as well. Non-MEC based off the guarantees as well. This one was interesting. Our third company, we're going to look at a smaller carrier, which was a really interesting analysis when you see how things work a little bit differently. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.